So this has been kind of an interesting cycle the last 48, 72 hours. O'Connor on his own podcast says, they're listening on pretty much everybody not named Jason Tatum. Then Shams goes on McAfee, and he says, they're focused on moving Holiday, Porzingis, and Hauser. And McAfee says, so everybody but Tatum? And he goes, yeah, essentially. Mm-hmm. And then O'Connor now goes, I'm kind of hearing the same thing. So it's like this weird back and forth vortex of the two of them just kind of repeating the same thing. But the way that O'Connor just said it is what I believe the Celtics are doing. I don't think they're going to move Jaylen Brown. I don't think they're going to move Derrick White. But I think they have to listen if they get a good offer. And if a team offers enough, they're open to moving those guys. I believe that. And if they're not doing that, then Brad's not doing his job. And if you think Brad's a good executive, you believe he's doing his job, he should be listening on deals like that. And on the right offer, he should pull the trigger.
Yeah, the Tatum injury opens the door up to probably every possibility. And I think if Danny Ainge was here, we know he'd be listening on everybody. And I think Brad Stevens, even in his couple seasons in charge, he's kind of proven that he'll at least listen on everybody and make some big moves. And so, yeah, I think so, because they have so many guys on their team that could be on the move for a bunch of different reasons, right? Just getting under the second apron, or maybe it's kind of performance. Like, is Porzingis really worth $30 million? Is Drew Holiday really worth what he's being paid and all this stuff? And so once you get a GM on the phone, you might be talking about one player, but then that quickly turns to another player, and then you're like, I didn't even think this was possible. And then you don't even really realize who's available from that other team, and then things change. Like, I think he's going to be as busy as any GM in the entire NBA this summer.
So we've gone through Jaylen deals we would do. Like, again, for instance, the Bucks say, we'll give you Giannis for Jaylen. Yeah. You have to do that.
Reluctantly, yeah.
Phoenix says, here's Devin Booker. We want Jaylen Brown. You do it. Yeah. So we've gone through...
and Cooper Flag.
Yeah, Dallas in the number one pick. I wouldn't do it for the number 2 pick in San Antonio.
Same.
Dallas, I would. So we've gone through deals where examples
I wouldn't do it for Durant.
Right,
I wouldn't do
neither.
it for... Yeah, the 2 pick's a good one.
So we've gone through examples of what it would take to pull the trigger, for me anyway, if I'm Brad Stevens. What would you actually want for Derrick White?
Oh, so
that's a hard one. Maybe you just know it when you see it, but if you're trading Derrick White, and I think you could get a haul for Derrick White. You're not getting a haul for Drew Holiday. You're not getting a haul for Porzingis. You're probably not getting a haul for Jaylen Brown.
But when you say haul, like, I'm not looking for a Mikal Bridges 4 first-round pick.
But that's
exchange.
But I think that's the only reason you'd really trade him, right? Like, are you trading
that's
him?
why I haven't even really thought about it, because I think if you trade Derrick White, first of all, a team that is a contender would want him. Therefore,
so they're low picks.
And therefore, they wouldn't give up a top guy. It would have to be a 3-team deal where you have a bad team in there that is willing to take on the picks, or maybe and then you get a good player.
Maybe just you're not going to knock it out of the park like Danny did with the Nets trade, but maybe you do look at it and go, all right, well, this team can compete for 2 years.
Yeah.
Let's take their pick. But, like, that's the kind of deal I think you would trade Derrick White away in, which I'm just not interested in doing either.
No, because I think at the very least you want the year Tatum returns to have Jaylen Brown, Derrick White, and him. And probably Peyton Pritchard because of the deal that he has. And then it's up to Brad to sort of figure out the big men that are going to be on that team. Because it won't be Horford. Whether he's here or not this year, it won't be Porzingis. Who knows about, like, Cornette and stuff. So I think you want him coming back to that group and try to make a run at it for another couple of years.
What if Phoenix was like, we'll give you Durant for Derrick White?
No, I don't want Durant.
But what about for Derrick White?
Yeah, I guess, but like,
and I like, I'm not
there's so many more
Bill Chisholm and the Celtics would want to do it money wise, but just like play it out. That's a player that's available. That would be an attractive piece, I would think.
Well, he's a better player, but I just don't. There's so many more moves that have to happen because you're actually adding money in that scenario.
Right.
So, like, what?
Right, but take the money out of it for a second.
Yeah.
And I know that it's fantasy land, but just work with me. Would you do that trade player for player?
I don't think so. How many more years is Durant going to be good?
Probably not many.
Yeah. So, meaning, like, I don't know if you'll ever
but
get...
this kind of makes... I guess this kind of makes my point.
So, I think I would say no. He's 36. He's going to be 37 for the upcoming season, so he won't play with Tatum until he's 38, so no.
But it would be Jaylen and him this year.
Yeah, what does that do? It was. I
don't know. It keeps you in the mix, and you have a good season, and then he's the number 3 with Tatum and Jaylen in 2 years.
Durant and Booker couldn't make the playoffs.
That's a good point.
So I'm out on Durant.
That's a good point. I don't think I'd do that trade either, and I don't even think it's realistic financially.
No, I know,
but
just
to play the game,
just for giggles.
So I think the reason you would even trade Derrick White is for a bunch of draft picks and a haul in that regard, maybe some young players as well. I'm with you. I'm not interested in that kind of deal, which is why I wouldn't trade White. But I would listen on Derrick White, and if I get blown away, I'd trade him.
It just seems like you're rebooting too much. Because I still think there's a window for let's call it the 27, 28, 29 seasons. Right? Like next year is going to be, all right, what can you do? Like just Jaylen Brown, do the best you can, try to make the playoffs, try to be like my guy Scottie Pippen the year Jordan was playing baseball, just do the best you can. But then when Tatum comes back, you guys need to be really, really good. And so I don't know, I'm hanging on to those guys because those would be the two that really kind of like bridge that gap.
Is game 4 tonight? It is, right?
Yeah.
Game 4. So that's a quick turnaround for the NBA. Good for them.
Yeah,
they're right back out there. I was actually thrown a little off.
Kind of crazy. Yeah, they play tonight, and then what is it? Sunday?
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, Monday.
There you go.
They took the weekend off. There we go. There's the NBA.
That actually sounds more right.
Yeah.
Well, they got to go all the way to Oklahoma City.
That's true.
We'll see if Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift pop up at any NBA Finals games.
I hope so.
I'd wager on it.
Yeah.